Hello and welcome to another quick look. Me, GamerWolfSix, of another furry visual novel. This one, Eden's Reach, a game about, as I'm looking at the synopsis, Eden's Reach is a sci-fi romance visual novel focused on the main character, default name Adrian, adventures in Bayline City, a bustling futuristic seaside city filled with an equally compelling set of eccentric and intriguing faces. What kind of life awaits anyone who comes to the city? Only time will tell. So anyways, also before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. And that's pretty much it, because I don't see a Patreon on their page. So, also before we start, if you want me to do a let's play of the series, then tell me, and I'll give it a point to put up higher on the list of users' choice. And also, if you have any other games you want me to quick look, tell me, and I'll put it in the quick look list, and also give it a point. Hyena. So, I'm gonna reset my face, because it's CP, and start. My ears ring as the sound of those damn alarms pierce my eardrums, red blaring across my vision. Red lights are spiraling across nearly endless hallway, slightly illuminating the metal tiles below me. The air is thin, almost making me suffocate with each breath I take. I try to feel my body and make sense of what is happening. My fur is all bristled, and I can't make out why. Suddenly, a force pushes me out, onward, to the hallway. Indistinct screaming coming from all directions around me. Confusion continues to fill my mind, as I feel something pull on my arm. It was a tight grip, a sensation I've never felt before. It keeps urging me to move forward, and, like clockwork, my body moves. I slowly lose all control of my body, as one thought invades my mind. Run! Just keep running. The grip of my arm suddenly loosens as I continue running forward. Suddenly, a gleam of light comes from the end of the hallway. A door. There are several windows strewn across the edges, glowing in stark contrast of blue compared to the rest of the dreary atmosphere of this corridor. I start bolting towards the door, yet I slowly notice that I wasn't moving at all. So it's a dream. I was stuck in place, kind of like a treadmill. It adjusts itself based on how fast or slow I'm moving. Yet the screams and begging footsteps from behind me kept drawing closer and closer. Suddenly, somebody had lived themselves on Minecraft. A loud bang sound echoes through my ears, jolting me awake. And dream again. Just looking at that thing over there. Okay, might put the audio down just a bit. Seems about right. That don't teach me to watch horror movies at midnight and have too many soft tackles. The dream's been coming back a lot more often lately. It goes around the same key steps, alarms blaring, a sudden force on my arm, then that sound. It varies from each instance. Sometimes it's a splattering of blood, other times it's the sound of a gunshot. Although it still bothers me every now and again, I've learned to just live with it and not let it impede my schedule. And yes, also his chair doesn't have a hole for his tail. Surfing the web in my PJs for most of the day looking for DJ gigs is a valuable use of time. I groan as I toss and turn my bed, searching for my phone under the rubble of my belongings on my end table. The alarm had begun going off for 30 minutes now. It was supposed to wake me up at 9 a.m. Now it's 9:31. Not too late, I guess. I sit at the edge of the bed, stretching as my tail escapes the warm embrace of my blanket. After doing some standing stretches, I've never seen anybody do that in the morning, I go to my closet, gathering some new clothes to replace my pajamas. I'm fluffy. Disrobing my comfy PJs off my body, I take time to appreciate myself in front of the mirror. The more I stare at myself, though, the more I regret not going to the gym with Dylan more often. After that disappointing display, I sluggishly put on my shirt and some baggy shorts, my phone placed in one of the pockets. Man, that guy's a sweet dig. I walk towards the kitchen in a similar fashion to make myself some breakfast. As I begin to plant my butt onto one of the seats, though, I receive a text from someone. I unlock my phone and am greeted by another notification. New OS version? Crap. I gotta re-input all my information again. I fumble around the screen a bit, making sure my big paws wouldn't accidentally let go of the small-ass projector module. Those things are so tiny, about as thin as a single french fry among the boxes, yet they sell in fast food restaurants downtown. After going through that boring process again, the update asks for my name. Oh, that's easy. Let me type it in here. I didn't input anything, but it knows who I am. Name confirmed. Enjoy your new operating system, Adrian. The AI butchered my name a bit, but that's about expected at this point. Gosh, I know that when it comes to my last name, people always butcher it. Because when, people from the West, say my last name, it's always with, it kind of sounds Middle Eastern, but no, where my name came from is nowhere near the Middle East. Anyways, because you don't want English. Anyways, after exiting my phone settings, I go through through all my other notifications. Among them was a text from Dylan. As I grabbed a carton of milk from the fridge and a box of cereal from the cabinet, I read his text. Yo, Adrian, got some time to go to Burnham's today? I place the carton and box on the table and start replying. I thought that coffee shop wasn't your style. Well, it was in the area, so, why not meet there? You're lucky I haven't eaten breakfast yet. Of course, Dylan's always been a bit spontaneous with his meetups. I regrettably put back the carton of milk in the fridge. Or regrettably? Yeah. As well as a box of cereal in the cabinet. Maybe next time, my darlings. I grab my sling bag that was hung on the rack, placing my phone and my wallet in it. I then grab to take my headphones from the bedroom and sync them to my phone. The update must disconnect them from the PC cloud, as most of my personal playlists are gone. God, I know it's always annoying when my phone is like, you need to update, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'll just do this thing and wait for the process. That would take about 5 minutes or more, but then having everything reformatted, that sounds like sucky work. Well, so much for a diverse walk across the neighborhood. After brushing my head fur with a comb, I grab my favorite flip-flops from the rack next to the door, busting it open with some enthusiasm. Watch out, Bayline City. Adrian's here to see the light of day. I wrap my headphones around my ears, adjust them around them automatically to fit my anatomy. It was a nuisance that the store brands in my area never really got them right for my species. Besides, I love these bad boys better because I made them. I take out my phone and start my playlist, begin my walk towards Burnham's coffee shop, one of my favorite places to just take a seat and relax. I do it more often if only my wallet agreed with this kind of lifestyle. There is a small scattering of clouds across the sidewalk, but the ground and air traffic was always a marvel. All this cool technology that I usually take for granted just sticks out to me today. Was it boredom? Was it because I stayed home for a week straight? I mean, it do be like that sometimes. I mean, if I didn't go to the gym, I'd probably never leave the house, now that I think about it. Regardless of the reason, I simply stare at the zooming cars and drones in the sky, and the equally fast vehicles on the ground. Actually, now that I think about it, I do go to furry meets, so, you know, busy bee. The music on my phone has only amplified the atmosphere, my head bopping as I immerse myself around the turn towards the city plaza. The plaza itself was as stunning as everything else around it. It was heaven for basically all walks of life, however dull or exciting it might be. Just plop down some of Eden Corpse's hard light emitters, and you've basically set a stage for whatever you want to do around here. Eden Corpse hard light, whatever. There weren't the usual street performers around the corner and the service robots selling ice cream on their floating carts. No, wait, there were usual. The crowds forming around the fast food chains mixed with the more high-end restaurants could not be missing, and the more high-end restaurants could not be missing. It certainly speaks volumes that the crowd was already this dense so early in the morning. The plaza is well known for its nighttime view, after all. As I made my way toward Burham's Coffee, there was a rather large crowd piercing through my music. I take my headphones off out of curiosity, collapsing onto my paws as I investigate what made all that commotion was about. Weird grammar. Collapsing onto my paws. To my disappointment, it was just another of those protests against Eden Corpse. I never really understood all the hate around that company. Oh, so this is going to be like, I don't know, Eden Corpse is going to be the big corpo bad guys like in, Komorebi? You know, now that I think of it, I can't think of that many furry visual novels that are like anti-corpo, you know? Like, note to self, go through a list of all the visual novels I do, and, you know, maybe see, like, if there's actually a thing about that, because that would be kind of interesting. Though, I'll just put this here, and hopefully I will think about to go through that list at the end of the thing. Anyways, sure, I'm not blind to all the drama they stir up, but they've certainly done more good than anything else, being the pioneers of the medical technology industry. They thrust the company to being one of the leading powers of society. That was how the endless amounts of articles I've read describe them anyway. Well, out of sight, out of mind. Ignore the protesters, and as I continue to make my way towards the coffee shop, which is just short ways behind the central fountain area. It was something I liked about the location, hidden away from the rest of the glittery shops, taking all the major crowds, leaving the more calm and quiet atmosphere to the back end. The door automatically slides open, and I step onto the carpet. The smell of fresh coffee beans greeted me on the way in. Coffee. And floating chairs? I guess. I mean, it is the future. Burham's Coffee. Everything about this place just spells relaxing. It's one of the few places where I honestly preferred the coffee shop's smooth jazz to my own music, often getting lost in the atmosphere of the place. Man, there's not enough smooth jazz in the world right now. My allured state is cut short as someone snips their fingers in front of me. You, Earth to Adrian? It's a kangaroo. Gah. Oh, it's just you. This excitable kangaroo. He's an absolute chore to keep up with sometimes. This time around, though, I kind of need his energetic attitude. Mornings are always the most tempting times to just do nothing and laze about. And while it can be difficult, I do enjoy his company a lot. And 1 second there. Anyways, we've been attached to the hip since high school, and I couldn't imagine someone else helped me through dropping out of college other than him. It's even practical, considering he did it first. Geez, I don't know what you see in this place that always gets you so high. It's the drugs. It's the future weed. If you had some taste for aesthetics, you'd be high too. Please, my taste is better than yours. Only in your wet dreams die. Dylan grabs me by the shoulder, dragging me towards a pair of seats. He sat down on one of those special, extra comfy seats that only the early regulars usually take. Guess he was really close in the area. Did you breathe? Sometimes you just need to be like, okay, I need to set my reading brain part. Did you order anything already? I take a seat next to him, unwrapping the sling bag from my shoulder in the process. Heh. You know, I don't order shit from coffee shops. Who orders coffee? Yeah, and you always make me order milk tea with you. It's infinitely better than the stuff you drink in the morning. Or you just have an insatiable sweet tooth. I take my wallet out of the bag, standing up as Dylan stretches a bit behind me. You gonna order the usual? Yep, mocha frappe, baby. I immediately go to the lineless counter, the cashier looking at me quite expectantly. I'm a semi-regular here, so we're quite familiar with each other. The usual, Adrian? Hit me with your the best you got. Hit me with your best shot. The cashier rings me up and lets me scan my phone for the receipt. It only takes me about half a minute for the entire thing to be ready, thanks to the mix of barista and some high-tech machinery to get the whole thing done. Here you go. Enjoy the coffee. Thanks. I eagerly take a few sips off the cup. Its pure mocha taste and cold liquid running down through my throat. Ooh. It was always the best feeling in the world, drinking from this place. The blend of bitter and sudden sweet aftertaste that the drink somehow captures just completes my morning. I plant my butt, onto the seat once more, with Dylan just scrolling through his phone as his ears perk up to greet me. Yo, Adrian, just got the news of that gig you wanted me to check in on. My eyes widen as I place the mocha frappe down on the table. I've been waiting for him to get back to me for almost half a month now. You actually got me a spot at the nightclub? Yep, the same one I moonlight in. I had my boss check your stuff, and he's willing to give you a chance. What was that one thing that they used to, really frown people on back in the old days? Was it called moonlighting? Or lamplighting? It's something that I find really weird because, as a millennial, you'd watch shows from decades and decades ago, and one of the things that would appear in kids' cartoons would be the dad needs to get more money, so he moonlights, I think it was, to work for another company at night or something like that, and that was seen as a bad thing. It's wait, this guy having a full-time job and another job that he works with not working his full-time job is something he has to hide? What? Because I guess they used to pay people more back then. I don't know. Yeah, anyways. Holy shit, Ty. That nightclub's gonna get me set up for sure. His smile suddenly disappears though, as he gets another text from what I assume is his boss. Well, better get your best tracks coming, because he said he can only give you later at night for a slot. Give you later at night for a slot. Seriously? That early? Or that's early. A pit in my stomach begins to form as panic starts to set in. I drink my frappe and try to calm myself down, but Di knew that wasn't gonna work. Say, Adrian, I know you're all nervous and all, but we better get you ready for tonight. I can even lend you some spending cash if you're short. But I already owe you. What, like a few grand at this point? Well, one of us isn't teetering around being a homeless husky with only a DJ pad and a cute face to his name. I don't know, his house looks pretty sweet. Okay. Then I'm definitely paying you back with the money from this gig. All the better. Dylan pulls me by the arm as he brought me out of Birmingham's, almost making me spill my frappe. Fappy. I hastily pull my sling back with me, creating a chaotic chain of energy with Dylan leading the fray. Die, slow down. It won't be until tonight. Exactly why we've got to get you through the entire plaza. Get through? The entire plaza? But I don't need that much for the gig. I'm confused. Shh, less talk, more walking. Come on, chop chop. Eventually, we reach the center of the plaza with a breakneck pace, causing quite a ruckus between the two of us. I could only hope that the entirety of Bayline City isn't looking at these two idiots in the most foot traffic heavy landmark. Could you please just slow down for a moment? It's not like we're in any rush. Really? Judging by my last look at your wardrobe, our current pace is definitely warranted. What's wrong with my usual duds? Trust me, your clothes aren't gonna cut out for my joint. It's as much a fashion contest as it is a DJ gig there. I decided to ignore his several jabs at my choice of clothing. Despite wanting to tear him a new one, I just sigh as I pull Dylan to a stop and turn him around to face me. Seems a tad bit louder than I'd prefer. It is interesting that this thing keeps the, background that it has before. I don't think I've ever seen a visual novel do that. Come on, Di. Judging by the way you described it, it's clear that my wallet can take a beating for stuff your bar considers passable. Hello? That's why I'm here to pay for it. I'll get the cheapest options if that helps you ease your conscience. Dylan proceeds to wrap an arm around my shoulders as he ruffles my head fur. He knows damn well how to soften me up for any of his ideas. This is just one of his easier tactics he can pull. I think I might need to even put it even more down because it is like kissing even more of the yellow. Here? Nice music though. Whoa. Stop being a crybaby. You'll have plenty of time to get ready, right? Fine, but I get to pick the store. Aw, but that's half the fun. That's why I'm taking it. Dylan and I walk around the Plaza Commercial District for a while, going through several different bouquets and clothing shops littering the area. Boutiques? I think that's the word. Not a lot of them fit the vibe I was looking for, or they were too expensive, both for me and Dylan. This one? Bought there once, the clothes were too tight. Really? And here, I thought your slim physique let you slip through anything. Ooh. A little benefit of not having baked buns for pecs. Ooh. The buns on these clothes would literally fly off if you wore them. That's one thing I do kind of like about, shirts I wear sometimes where, the tightest part of me is the upper part, but then sometimes I have to, wiggle them past my pecs. Something tells me you'd still enjoy the view, though. Oh, shut up, Di. I revel in the small display of sarcasm as another store catches my attention. It carries such a different atmosphere compared to the other surrounding stalls and stores. The inside is mostly blocked out, and it sticks out from the darkest paint job amidst the otherwise bright and glittery plaza architecture. Hey, this place seems promising. Let's see. Neon Peaks? I think I've heard of this place. His face lights up with curiosity, as if he's only seen this place for the first time. I've only vaguely heard of something like this being set up a few months ago, which explains the contrasting theme. Well, I'm all ears. What do you know? This here is an electronics store. It sells some armlets and phones in there, but it's fused with a surprising amount of cosmetics, as they're less about design and more about flexible functionality. Whoa, where'd this sudden spiel come from? Heard it from a bar patron. Couldn't stop hyping this place up to his friend. I didn't think they'd actually build a branch downtown. Huh, and what about that flexible functionality this place is known for? I may have an idea. I'm gonna be keeping it as a surprise though. Of course he will. Oh, so basically cyberpunk. I rolled my eyes as I entered the store and immediately immersed into the deep atmosphere. The hard masonry of the plaza was replaced by the soft foam to carpet flooring of the store. The place is a cooler hue of blue to it, which only amplifies the ambiance playing in the sound systems. Ambience? Yeah. Holy shit, they weren't kidding about this place. I think I just found my favorite store in the plaza. Hey, don't lose focus. Our goal's right there. He points towards the doorless closet filled with both folded and hanging clothes. I rush towards it and peruse the selection as soon as I am able, with Dylan to the side casually helping me out. As I kept flipping through several vests and jackets, I started slowly realizing what Dylan meant by flexible functionality. Most of the selection is RGB synth clothes that change and react to the store's system. Upon closer inspection, they're surprisingly cheaper compared to other brands. These cut nearly half the usual cost. As I continue browsing through the row of clothes, Dylan suddenly pokes my shoulder. Hey, Adrian, I bet this looks good on you. Okay, let me try it on then. I quickly put on the RGB jacket. Why don't we have those? That he pointed out to me. Afterward, Dylan takes me by the shoulders and rushes me to the full-length mirror nearby. Maybe I'll put this as the thumbnail? I don't know. Boop. I look at my reflection, observing the jacket in its full glory. It wasn't particularly snug, if a bit baggy. I guess the tailors had, well, bigger people in mind when they designed these. It's pretty big. It was the only size they got. Besides, I'm sure your girl into it. I guess the size is fine, but what about the price tag? Don't worry about it. If it bothers you so much, it's actually the cheapest option that looks decent. The real question is whether you like it or not. Yeah, I do actually. I'll have to tweak around with the settings a bit, but this one speaks to me the most. I quickly take off the jacket and hand it to Dylan. He takes the liberty of unfolding it neatly before wrapping it around his arm. I straighten out my shirt, as it was dragged by the jacket, while Dylan pulls out his wallet. Alright, I'll just have this rung up. Why don't you wait outside? No thanks. I'll just walk around here for a bit, browse through the rest of the selection. Gotcha. Mean by the entrance? I give him a nod, and he makes his way towards the register. I go about my way and browse through the rest of the electronics selection first, which is just opposite the apparels. They even sell the latest armaments in the market, all decked out with those boxes also used for watches. Armlets? I'm not sure if that's a future word or one of our words. I guess they serve the same purpose, but that only begs the question as to why watches even exist to this day. Suddenly my phone rings from receiving a notification. I take it out of my bag and pop the screen up. Immediately, I see the message from an unknown number. I open it cautiously, knowing that even text messages can be catalysts for some forms of viruses that I can't fathom how devious people produce in the first place. Tap to open. Unknown number. Hello, you're Adrian. Yeah? Who's this? I am Mr. Arlucius, Dylan's boss at the Midnight Sun Bar. I usually go by Mr. Oswald. Either that, or just call me Oswald. Keep things simple. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't familiar with your number. It's no problem at all. Oh, and before you ask where I got your number, Dylan gave it to me. Yeah, I felt like that might be the case. Right, I'll let Dylan fill you in on the rest of the details, but I'll give you the directions to the bar. Unless you're carpooling with Dylan, of course, which mostly makes me texting you a bit unnecessary. I guess that's true, but I don't want to come off as being ungrateful. Wait, maybe it's better to just agree to what he's saying? Oh geez, this is why I don't want to deal with bosses. Okay, Adrian, calm down. What do I say? Appreciate? That doesn't necessarily mean it was for nothing. Maybe something will happen and Dylan and I might not go to the bar together. Then the directions might come in handy. It takes a while for Mr. Oswald to respond to that, but when I did receive his reply, it was rather short. I see. Thank you for your words, Adrian. I'll be expecting you tonight. Of course, Mr. Oswald. Wait, expecting me? I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I set aside my worries, not wanting to pile even more stress on my psyche. He seemed to like what I said, though I guess I didn't fuck up on that account. I go through the path to the exit when I bump into Dylan on the way. He was holding a bag, presumably with my jacket inside, which he nearly dropped because of me. Whoops. You definitely need more spatial awareness, Adrian. Sorry. We make our way downtown, walking fast. Make our way back to the Central Plaza. Dylan holding the bag close to his body. He stops me by the fountain, tugging me by the nape. I immediately stop dead in my tracks as he hands me the bag. Inside is the jacket and a data chip wrapped in a hard box. The chip is for directions and the syncing. I'm sure you know the way around it. This isn't my first day around the gyroscope. I'll figure it out. Good. I got a few errands to run, so I probably won't be able to pick you up. Well, it looks like the map's can be useful, after all. That's fine. Mr. Oswald gave me directions. Really? Why'd he message you? When he messaged you. Just a few minutes ago. Already sucking up to the boss, eh? Typical canine. Go screw yourself, Die. We bump fists before going separate ways. I take a glance at the direction he was headed, and it really is the opposite where I was headed. The bag in my hand shakes a fair bit as I quickly make my way back home, filled with excitement to get this jacket set up. I hastily sped through the apartment complex, nearly blasting the door off the hinges with excitement. The bustling city sounds we were starting to pick up from outside. My apartment mostly blocks it off, leaving the feeling of being isolated from the rest of the chaotic world, letting me do things at my own pace. I go inside my room, placing the bag on my bed as I take out its contents. Alright, time to do this. Later that day. Oh, why'd you stop? The time to perform and the midnight sun had come quickly as news reached me. I could already hear music inside, rather faintly, making me tug onto my jacket out of anxiety. This is it. Behind the bouncer in front of me is the start of my actual career. I take a deep breath, steel my nerves for what's to come. Then, I make my first step. Someone suddenly pounces on me, nearly tipping me over. Hey, look at you! Jeez, Di, did you really have to... An involuntary cut off as soon as I saw Dylan's whole getup. He looks all dapper in that tightest looking clothing. Knowing him, he probably can't endure that kind of crap for long. What? You like what you see or something? Sorry, just not used to seeing you looking all like a responsible adult. Don't get used to it. Serving drinks to drunkards certainly isn't responsible. Whatever you say, bartender. You both make your way to the front entrance, where the bouncer is, guarding the neon doors, with as little as a droplet of emotion in his being, besides scary. He stared me down like I was some kind of troublemaker, taking occasional glances at Dylan. The bouncer stops us right where he stood, his large paw standing in the way. His height was even more intimidating, though, as he towers over both me and Dylan with a huge margin. He's a Toyga. Put it right there. What's your business here, pup? His grim tone sent shivers down my spine. His scowl certainly wasn't helping. I'm just... The hell's wrong with you? Cat hooker got your tongue? Ooh. Spit out already. That's not from you, you big lug. Stop scaring him already. Sorry. I know scaring the shit out of newbies is the only fun I get around here. Aw, and I thought me checking on you every now and then was enough, Max. Aw, boo-hoo. Bless your poor, delicate roo heart. Dylan and the big tiger bouncer, apparently named Max, share a hearty laugh before performing a quick, secret handshake. Did the atmosphere just change when these two started talking? I can't believe it. The air definitely seems different. It's as if all the tension from earlier just dissipated. So, Di, what's he really here for? I can answer that myself. Max looks at me with an air of skepticism on both his face and tone. Oh, you look like shivering prune when I asked you a few seconds ago. I want to tell him that it was his fault why I was like that. But what good would that do? Instead, I just answered promptly. I'll be performing as DJ here. Huh. You sure you can handle everyone staring at him? He's got nerves of steel when he's on stage. It's a shame you won't see him in it or on it. Yeah, just don't indulge those assholes in there. I don't want to add some extra work on my palate. I'll do my best, as always. Dylan grabs me by the shoulder and ushers me inside, on my own as Max opens the door of the bar. I walk away from the two of them suddenly. I walk away from the two of them suddenly. I hear the sound of cloth rustling accompanied by Dylan gasping. The two of them proceed to playfully roughhouse as a bit before Dylan follows my lead. What was that about? You wouldn't understand. We're gay lovers. I guess you're right. Never mind then. We enter the bar and immediately were assaulted by an array of strobing lights and blasted music. People were dancing in the middle of the bar, the dance floor and pan of square lights, lighting up all manner of different colors. The bar was just to the left of the dance floor, managed by a brown wolf in a rather expensive-looking tux. Dylan rushes to the bar right away, catching the wolf's attention. Hey, Oswald. Sorry I'm a bit late, but here, I have this guy with me. Oh, I'll be with you in just a sec. Mr. Oswald walks around the bar, approaching me and Dylan briskly. He lets out a slight huff as he greets us with quite a welcoming expression. Dylan, you must be Adrian. Glad you could make it. The bar is extra busy today, so I'm counting on you. He says that last part while looking at Dylan. I'll do my best, as always, Mr. Oswald. Alright, now for you. He looks over at me with a rather expectant expression, and just like that, the pressure started piling on. Come with me backstage, Adrian. We'll have your briefing there. Alright. I follow him towards the other end of the bar, where the backstage is. It appears to be covered by a bunch of curtains. As we make our way to it, my eyes wander around the building, observing the strobing lights and other attachments near it. There are a few box-like structures that were dimly lit with strobing lights set up, and I instantly recognize what they were: hard light emitters. Why aren't they being put to use? I put these thoughts on the back burner. For now, though, as Mr. Oswald pulls the curtain to the backstage side, gesturing me to go in first. I enter as Midnight Sun's owner fiddles around with some panels attached to the wall, apparently setting up the mood lighting, with his tux unwinding a bit as he turns to face me once again. What a busy night. I must have the courage to speak to him, despite how nerve-wracking this whole situation is making me feel. Is something the matter, Mr. Oswald? You seem awfully stressed. I'm fine. I'm fine, Adrian. Just a late-night rush. You should be worried about your performance anyway. Oh, alright. Is there anything I need to know about this whole setup? Mr. Oswald proceeds to brief me on the usual stuff I've come to expect from gigs like this. Protocols, equipment, how to sync it, all that. I mostly zoned out halfway because I heard the spiel a few times already. Then there are the acoustics around here. What about them? Let's just say that isn't exactly the most immersive experience. It isn't exactly the most immersive. A lot of the DJs have put their own spin on the audio settings to make it sound decent, but it hasn't really done much good. Do you have any ideas why? If I had to guess, it's the bar itself. It's not structured well enough for the music to really get the blood pumping. Unfortunately, I can't spare the funds to get some dedicated equipment. Well, that is a problem. The acoustics are a big problem. I won't be able to showcase the music well enough, and it's no wonder that it was blasting at the entrance. The sounds unfocused all over the place. As I contemplated what the problem was, an idea suddenly sprang to mind. The hard light emitters. Excuse me? The bar has some hard light emitters attached to the strobing lights. We can use them to create a dome for the sound to bounce off of. The way they're structured can isolate the sound even more, but we can't make the entire dome surround the dance floor, especially in a closed-off environment like this. It doesn't have to be an entire dome, just enough for speakers to bounce the sound off the curved hard light nicely. Mr. Oswald thinks for a moment before he begins to fiddle with his phone. After he does something, the phone comes through my phone. Is the access key to the hard light system off the bar, complete with nearly everything at my disposal. I look at Mr. Oswald as he puts his phone back in his pocket. This is me trusting you to give you a killer performance. He pats me on the shoulder before he disappears onto the other side of the curtains. I was left feeling uneasy. I was nervous about performing, sure, but that was minuscule compared to the added pressure coming from Mr. Oswald's trust. Somehow, that weighs on me way more than it should. Alright, calm down. I looked towards the DJ on stage. He was ripping through the panels, his mixing near perfect. The entire crowd was bobbing to his command. The confidence he was sporting has oozed off of his entire being. If he can do that with less than stellar acoustics, then I can do that too. It doesn't take long for him to finish ripping through his pad on stage. After a few finished flourishes, clearly trying to take off the last numbness from the intense gig, he quickly goes down steps. I know that feeling all too well. He disappears from view on the other side of the stage, which slowly meant that was my cue. I get a text from Mr. Oswald as I ready myself to get on the steps. You're up. Any last-minute requests? Can you kill the lights? And just like that, the lights of the bar were all turned off. The crowd silent, taken back by the sudden artificial brownout. I take a deep breath as I activate the hard lights dishes on the strobing lights. Oh, whoa, it's like MFF or something. Man, I wouldn't be sad I missed this year's one. I slam my hands on the pad, bringing the burst of light waving through the dance floor. My jacket lights up with the same tones as my DJ pad, slowly illuminating the bar once more in neon hue. My gaze slowly rises to the crowd as the bass kicks in. I start tapping on the beat repeatedly, and the strobe lights come to life accordingly. I start freestyling on the synths as I put the beats on repeat. Each step after another, I slowly drew my focus more and more onto the track, ignoring the crowd around me almost entirely. I'm sure Dylan's watching me. Maybe Mr. Oswald too, if he isn't busy. But right now, they don't matter. I take quick glances at the crowd. They're completely immersed in the music, much deeper in trance than they ever were before. I didn't know much about specific details, but does that really matter? When I'm on the pad, I'm in control. Before I knew it, the performance was over. The slight silence before the crowd erupts into applause, requesting the encore. As much as I'd love to oblige, though, there's still another DJ waiting. I half-heartedly bow to the crowd and make my way onto the other flight of stairs afterward, shaking the tension from my limbs while I attempt to calm myself down. When I reach the last flight of stairs, Mr. Oswald greets me with a big smile. He gives me a pat on the back again as he leads me towards the bar. Drinks are on the house for tonight. You've earned it after all that. Really, sir? I was just doing what I usually do. Mr. Oswald sits on one of the stools, patting on the cushion of another one next to him. Is that so? If that's the case, I'd like to hear more about what you usually do. I take a seat next to the bar stool at Mr. Oswald's left as he signals Dylan for 2 drinks. I was half hoping I get to choose the free drinks myself, but I guess not. My idle gaze slowly drifts towards Dylan as his quick handiwork gains my attention. His mixology skills were awe-inspiring and eye-catching, but Mr. Oswald redirects my attention towards him. So, Adrian, where have you been hiding in the industry? What do you mean by that, Mr. Oswald? He lets out a slight chuckle as he scratches his muzzle a bit. First, we're way past honorifics. Oswald's fine, since you definitely earned my respect. Oh, all right, Oswald. I stutter a bit as I try to rewire my brain to do as he says. Second, what you showed out there, before and during the performance, that wasn't just some run-of-the-mill DJ gig. You could have fooled me if you said you were a biggie in the market. That's quite high praise, especially coming from someone like you. We exchange a few silent gazes, his vision flicking between me and what I assume is Dylan from time to time. I slowly get lost in his eyes, vibrantly piercing through the dominating hue of the bar. This might be it. The guy might get me into the rest of the high end of the industry. All those hurdles that I went through were insurmountable. This man could make me leap through all of that. I can't let this chance pass me by. Eventually, Dylan arrives with our drinks. Here you go, today's special, Vita's Sunrise. Oswald and I look at Dylan as the rural winks at me playfully before he goes to another patron. The wolf in front of me chuckles once more as he downs the drink in one go, gently putting the glass down in front of me and Oswald. I have to admit, I'm very impressed at Dylan's craftsmanship. Even though this is a rather simple beverage, it's also quite aesthetically pleasing as I slosh it around a bit. World's full of surprises. Pardon? Nothing. Just thinking that Dylan, if all people, got me a gem of a person as a DJ for my bar. It's a humbling experience, is all I'm saying. I simply stare at him as I realize he's referring to me. I blush a bit as I avert my gaze to my drink, hesitating to drink it. I've had alcohol before, sure, but with Oswald right in front of me, it'll make it hard to keep it down. Something wrong? You haven't touched a drink at all. It's nothing, Oswald. Just a little nervous. Whatever for? Well, even you have to admit the difference between you, an owner of the rather well-known bar, to me, the DJ from the countryside. Oswald thinks for a moment. He eyes me from head to toe, making me wonder if I said something wrong. I take a slow sip out of my drink, when to silence myself under the glass. I occasionally give worried glances his way as he reclined himself on the bar counter, letting out a sigh. Yes, that might be true in some way, but I don't think we're that much different after all. At all. Huh? Let me level with you, Adrian. Get me here. He signals me with his paw to lean closer, and I do so. Yes, the midnight bar might be the local specialty of Bayline City, but that's all there is. You think this place is amazing is the same way as the people who love the high-rise bars in the skyscrapers. The people who love. Is that so? Yep, in my eyes, we're the same. Even in our own industries, we're remarkable people hiding in plain sight. Remarkable people. Those words hung on to me. Am I truly remarkable? Well, it doesn't take one to know one. Wait, it does take one to know one. I can read. And I have very little doubt that Oswald's remarkable in every sense of the word. I have very little doubt, yeah. I wonder, though, how much truth is there in these words? It's precisely why we're the same that I want to... Oswald's ears suddenly perk up as one of them twitches. He places his finger onto what I assume is an earpiece as I hear muffled speaking on the other end. Oswald's face turns grim while listening in. I begin to worry about what's being said, but Oswald starts to speak again before he could ask what's wrong. No. We can't use a scene in front. We can't have a scene in front of the bar. Yes, I can handle it. Just let them in. Be on standby for my signal, right? I stay silent as Oswald's face turns a bit tense. He focuses on the entrance of the bar, expecting someone to enter. I feel the same tension he carries in the air with me, my body going stiff, as if his eyes were drilled onto me instead of what's behind me. Dylan. He says it in a deep, serious tone, his cheer all but gone by this point. Yes, Mr. Oswald? Make sure you save good glasses. I look towards the entrance behind me. Two heavily cloaked, suspicious-looking men come to the bar, menacingly approaching us. I'd have half the instinct to just run for it, but seeing Oswald stand his ground, with a scowl nonetheless, somehow makes one do the same as well. Mr. Oswald Alosis? One of the men spoke gravely, cold voice under the trench coat. Yes, that's me. Do you need anything? Perhaps a complimentary drink to take the edge off? The other person circles around me, and Oswald stand behind the wolf. You and your buddy seem to really need it. We're not here to exchange pleasantries. You see, we prefer to... get to the point. The two of them began to close in on Oswald. Their aura just exuded threatening, yet the wolf remained unfazed as he clenches his glass. As one of the men lands his paws on Oswald's shoulder, Dylan suddenly comes rushing in from behind me. Hey, what are you two doing? Shaking up this plute? Dylan's words are cut short as the man closer to me lands a clear punch to his gut, causing the kangaroo to crumple to the ground. I immediately try to come to his aid to examine him. He holds his stomach as he groans in pain, his face full of agony. Dylan! Before I can even process what happened to Dylan, the men begin to get handsy with Oswald. They rough him up a bit while he growls under his breath. I watch as, even when he's being manhandled, he doesn't back down. He keeps fighting. If we truly are the same, then I can't just stand here like an idiot. Hey! The three men in front of me, including Oswald, look at me with surprise. I hesitate for a moment because the sudden gazes point towards me as a result of my verbal outburst, but I steel myself once more. Let him go. You're gonna regret hurting my best friend. When the man approaches me, turn my bravado into nothing more than an impish yelp from my being that I couldn't contain. Am I, little puppy? Well, maybe I should teach you a lesson or two. The man doesn't hesitate and starts his inching closer. He swings a quick strike, aimed towards my muzzle, and I reflectively flinch. I prepare myself for this fist to make contact, but it doesn't. I slowly open my eyes to see Oswald is already right in front of me, the wolf holding the other beastman's balled-up fist in his hand. Hey now, we're all civil people here, aren't we? No need for all this needless roughhousing, especially to my beloved establishment. Grr. The beastman backs away while Oswald flexes his tucks. You regret defying us, pup. I shrivel up a bit as the beastman, who must punch me, spits those words out. Oswald then directs his attention to the back door. As I grow more focused on the other two, who are at this point in the process of leaving, a hand momentarily grips onto my shoulder, coming from someone behind me. It's Oswald, with his attention seemingly to his earpiece, as he goes back to fiddling with his armlet. Max, I need you here ASAP. First aid, one person. Also, please escort the husky safely out of the bar. I need to have some business to attend to. Oswald? I'm left speechless as he looks back at me with unexpectedly gentle expression. It's okay, Adrian. I'll take it from here. You go have a good night's rest, yeah? Alright. With a few seconds, Max arrives with first aid kit in hand. He has a scowl that he's worn since I got here. What a fucking nuisance. Oh, you're Max, right? Oh, lovely. The pup remembered my name. So, you're gonna get going or what? What about Dylan? I'm gonna have to babysit this idiot. Leave the front door unguarded, so I had to come cover for me. Leaves the front door unguarded, so I had to cover someone to cover for me. Okay, someone. Don't go adding into my workload now. Alright, just please make sure he's okay. He'll be fine. He's got a lot rougher skin than you, that's for sure. I'll just make sure that he's okay. The tiger is certainly difficult. I watch him carry Dylan onto his back, taking a few quick glances at them, with Max being surprisingly gentle with the rear. He responds accordingly to the pain groans best friend was making. I appreciate the gesture in a way. At least, he's careful when he has to be. Or maybe it has something to do with Dylan's relationship to his coworkers. I proceed to just place all my thoughts and questions on the back burner for now, feeling increasingly exhausted as I make my way towards the exit. I just go and leave the tension of the situation that just occurred behind me. And with that scene change, and us pretty much hitting that 1 hour mark, it's a good time to call it. Boop. So anyways, that's going to be the end of this quick look. So please comment, cause I like comments, tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like to grow, then please subscribe and check out the rest of it grow. And please participate in your able step control the pet population. And if you want to play this game, it's available for free on itch.io, and that's pretty much it. They have a coffee, I think. Ko-fi? Yeah. And yeah, if you want me to do this as a Let's Play, tell me, and I'll give it a point which will put it higher on the list. And yeah, if you have any other quick looks you want me to do, then tell me, and I'll put it in the quick look folder and give it a point as well. But that's gonna be enough of this thing until, I don't know, maybe we get to this game before I die at some point. Who knows? It is kind of weird thinking about that. Boop, boop. But now we're gonna be doing random number generator Destiny to see what we're gonna be doing next. Now granted, if this is like, if it was short, then I would, you know, do it sooner rather than later. So let's see, we got 23. Was it 23? 22. Doot doot. Random number generator of Destiny suggests 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Nevin. Nowhere's End. Okay, that's where it... It took over the entire screen. Well, I'm gonna minimize Steam just in case it doesn't do this thing. So boop. Hopefully it works. There we go. Cool. And where's me mouse? Oh, my mouse is hidden for some reason. Well, it do be like that. I'm gonna pause it here so I can just make sure it works. Because you don't see the thing I'm seeing. Boop. Okay, I was able to get it to work. I just needed to, full screen it, I guess. But yeah, Nowhere's End. A game about, looking at the synopsis, Nowhere's End is a gay NSFW, why do I keep buying that part on my tongue? Ouch. Horror dating sim, 18 only. Also, I'm gonna turn down the music just a smidge. There we go, give or take. Okay, read it. The first well, a gateway to another world, changed everything when it appeared, crashing into and swallowing a whole town. Uwu. 12 years later, the third well arrives, hollowing out an entire mountain region. The population gets more desperate for information on wells with each passing year, still knowing nearly nothing about them. Follow June, an impoverished director who receives a life-changing job offer to make a documentary inside of a well. Get to know your teammates with in the coming months before the excursion into the well regions. The bonds you'll make will matter with what's to come. The well is different in every route. Each one contains its own holes. Can you keep everyone in the team? Can you keep everyone in the team alive inside? Uncover secrets in each route to place together the lore of a world transformed by disaster, recovering from full societal collapse. Man, it sounds harsh. Like, here I would be like, oh, it's just some slice of life and sad northwestern town, and it's like, yeah, there's this whole world-ending thing that's like swallowing places whole and all that stuff. So, oh, if you want to play the previous game, free on itch.io, but if you want to play this game, free on itch.io, but also they have a Patreon, which I'm just gonna quickly look. Take a looky-loo. Yep, early access. If you want to support the people that made this game, they have $5 early access. Hey, you know. Anyways, until next time, another quick look. by me, GamerWolfSix, of some other game. I mean, Nowhere's End. Yeah. So, thanks and see you.